Okay, we are good. We are live. Uh, I think we have more people joining in, so we will kind of start, and then we expect like more people to join in later on as well. Um, so without further ado, so just want to kind of welcome everyone today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from whichever part of the globe you're joining in from. Welcome to our webinar, Maximizing Online Learning Effectiveness in 2024 with Strategies and Tools. So my name is Nitin, and I'll be your moderator for today's session. Uh, we are thrilled to have all of you here today, kind to explore the future of learning and discuss innovative strategies and like kind of dive into the latest trends that are shaping the digital education in 2024. Before we get started, I would quickly take a moment to thank our sponsors today, which is Exaltius. Um, again, like Exaltius is so kind of Exaltius, we know is an like e-learning company. We have like a lot of courses and certification programs which we do. And now Exaltius is proud to announce it is its new training initiative. The initiative is to design to empower training companies and educators to grow alongside us. Um, so here's how you as a training company or an educator can partner with Exaltius to increase your revenue. You can actually expand your course library. You can also leverage your AI-powered technology. What I mean by increase your revenue is like by participating with Exaltius, you can sell cutting-edge programs and courses which we offer to our audience, and add that to your skill set and like your course library, and then we do a revenue split. In terms of course library, we kind of enhances like it will enhance our partners course library. They can add the portfolio our portfolio of courses to theirs, and then they can increase. Basically, what I meant by leveraging AI powered technology is again like they can also get access to the AI powered LMS what Exaltius has called Adroit, to kind of streamline the existing training programs our partners have and then elevate the learning experience for their students. So if you are interested, you can take the screenshot of the QR code on the screen. I will also be putting a link on the chat, which can be used to kind of register your interest. So yeah, so that's about our sponsors, of course. Now moving forward with our today's discussion. So let me quickly introduce our panel for today. We have two experts with us today who brings a wealth of knowledge and experience in online learning. Firstly, we have Mr. Samuel Fasnami, who is a professor of industrial and organizational psychology. His teaching and research experience span over 2 decades, and both with both research and organizations in universities or university in Africa, Europe, United Kingdom, and United States of America. He is a chartered occupational psychologist and with the British Psychological Society, a fellow of the Royal Statistical Society in UK, and a member of American Psychological Association. He is currently a senior lecturer at Hallmark University, Nigeria, and an Academia of Fordham of University in New York, United States of America. He has over 60 publications in academic journal, research textbook, and have won 13 grants in the last 10 years. He has won 11 grants, published over 60 publications, including 2 books in the span of 12 years. He is also a public speaker and a newspaper columnist. We welcome you to our panel, Mr. Samuel. We are happy to have you on board.
Thank you. I appreciate you for that great introduction. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Secondly, we have Mr. Edwin D. Guzman, who has been serving the Academy for 15 years now. He has served different institutions in Philippines and CR as instructor, research program coordinator, and dean. Mr. Edwin is currently teaching academic staff and an e-learning specialist at the University of Santo Tomas in Manila. Currently, he is the Vice President for Communication of Computer Science Teachers Association Philippines. Also, he is the Executive Vice President for External Affairs of the Multimedia Arts Association of Philippines in the NCR chapter. He's Director of Ways and Means of the MMAAP National and a formal Secretary of the Council of Dean for IT Education in NCR. Moreover, Mr. Edwin finishes his Bachelor of Science in Information Technology at the University of the East and obtained his MS Information Technology at Bulacan State University. He is finishing his doctorate in Information Technology at La Consolacion University, Philippines. He has also earned like different certification programs like MTA, MOS, and which is globally acknowledged. We are also happy to have you on board, Mr. Edwin, to be in our esteemed panel today. Yeah, you
Yeah,
welcome.
thank you very much for the introduction. Yeah, it's my
Yeah,
honor to be here and probably
certainly.
will be sharing a lot of insights for our
Yeah, exactly.
attendants today. And it's
Yes,
nice to meet as well our other panel.
Thank you
exactly.
very
Yeah.
much, You're welcome, sir. Thank you.
Yep. So moving forward, we'll quickly delve into the questions for today, which is the most exciting part. Why our like viewers have joined in, and like people are watching on a live stream. So I would straight away jump into my first question for the day to Mr. Edwin, right? Like so, um, because coming from the wealth of knowledge and experience what you have, what do you think are the most significant trends you see shaping online learning in 2024, and how should institutions prepare for these changes?
Yeah, thank you very much now to the questions. Well, actually, when we talk about those significant trends that we usually or that we usually see now for the online learning platform for this year, actually the adaptation of the artificial intelligence tools. Now, we currently the institution or in UST, we have already adopted some AI tools like Grammarly, Gradescope. We also have Adobe Firefly, which is open for not only for students but also in our teachers. And that's one of the trends that we have applied. Actually, it's a very challenging application, but however, we must accept that we have to adopt these changes. We have to adopt these technological advancements, and we have to make sure that our students or our community will be able to understand on how they will be able to use this properly. So we are teaching them the discipline, the ethics, the morality on how they will be able to use these AI tools. Second, we continuously using our existing applications, which is the LMS. Okay, LMS is the learning management system, which
Right.
currently we are using the Canvas, which is our main weapon or our main application to serve to our students. So our teachers are obliged to use this one so that if there would be calamities, if there would be no internet connection in the university, or in other circumstances, we still have other platform to serve the academic requirement for our students. So lastly, I think one of the trends is still the machine learning and the natural language processings that are still existing, which is also integrated with AI. I hope I answered the questions.
No, no, yeah, of course. Like, yeah, we are actually looking at insights from your expertise, what you have. I think that's a very valuable point what you made. Yeah, I think education is empowering in a different ways in the last couple of years, what we have seen, and those changes are like rapidly driving education towards a better space. And that's something like, yeah, good to know from the wealth of knowledge what you have within the industry. Thanks for that particular insight, Mr. Edwin. Now, moving forward to Mr. Samuel. So let's say when we talk about the rise of analyticals in every part, right? So let's say like the rise of data analytics, how can a educator and an administrator leverage data to drive decisions that improve learning solutions and outcome these days?
Thank you very much. Let me start by saying that the rise of data analytics actually offers educators and administrators some powerful tools, to enhance some learning outcomes by providing insights that we thought in some years ago that were not attainable. So I will quickly highlight some of these contexts. The first one is personalized learning. Personalized learning such as adaptive learning platform or using some learning pathways. What do I mean by adaptive learning platforms? Data analytics can actually track student performance in real time. It can also allow adaptive learning platform to tailor educational content to each student's need. So, and such personalization ensures that students receive, the right level of challenge in order to help them to progress more effectively in their studies. Then when we talk about the learning pathways, we can actually use data to identify the strengths and weaknesses of individual students. We can also use it to create customized learning pathways that will help, students with their unique needs. That is personalized learning. We can as well utilize data analytics for early intervention and support. We can use predictive analytics to pattern.
I think Mr. Samuel is
To
having.
give out early intervention, and whether the student will need additional support, whether the student will need extra tutoring, or whether the student will need, a new instructional methods. Then we can use data analytics to gauge attendance and monitoring. Through data analytics, we can actually track attendance and student engagement. We can also identify those who may need extra support, so that is early intervention and support. Then we can as well deploy data analytics for curriculum development and assessment. When we talk about curriculum effectiveness, data and assessment and student feedback can be analyzed, to determine which part of the curriculum are most effective. Such information can guide curriculum revisions. It can also ensure that the content is relevant and effective. Then we can also consider the formative and summative assessment. Educators can use data to design more effective formative assessment tools that will give us ongoing feedback as well as summative assessment that will accurately measure the learning outcomes. What about the teachers? Teachers' performance and professional development, we can as well deploy data analytics to boost this. Teachers' analytics, we can use data, to assess teaching methods and also to know the impact of such teaching method on student performance. Administrators too can identify some of the best practices and some areas that may be identified for improvement for the student. We can also use this for feedback mechanism. We have seen cases where we utilize data-driven feedback to help teachers to understand their own strengths and areas for growth. This will foster a kind of culture of continuous improvement. The list is endless, but I would still like to mention this one before I, through data analytics, we can actually use it for enhancing student engagement, like the introduction of gamification, which is the in thing now, gamification and engagement tools. we can use it to track down student engagement with digital tools and content. This will allow the students to, implement that gamification strategies, which will motivate them to study more. And it will also give us a kind of feedback loops that will help the real-time data, for to provide immediate, feedback to students. So let me limit myself to this then as we move on, so that we not spend all our time. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Samuel. Actually, that was a very detailed like insight, I would say. And this is exactly something which we kind of try to follow when we kind of build our own LMS system at Droid as well, right? Like, so we wanted to do a lot of data analytics, in not only in terms of teaching outcome, in terms of the tutors itself, in terms of the attendance, like you mentioned. So all of that, like, yeah, combined together, like we could actually kind of build, like, we're able to build a system which is like data driven, and then we have a lot of data over there to kind of analyze each and every aspect of learning, and then we can kind of improvise on the outcomes we had from a previous experience or previous cohorts, and then kind of better it on our next cohorts. And like, yeah, no, like I mentioned, like, yeah, the tutors are also getting, right, like, analyzed with the kind of data what we have. So that's something we with the Adroit LMS have done at Exaltius as well, and that's good to hear from you. Like, yeah, those pointers, like, yeah, like you mentioned, it is endless to speak about the opportunities what are there, but then it's of course, like, yeah, good that you address some of the main pointers. Thank you again, once again, for
You're
your insight,
welcome.
Samuel. Uh, Moving forward, again, coming back to Mr. Edwin. So, Mr. Edwin, like, since we are talking about a lot of technologies being used into the learning management ecosystem, right? Like, so, and the e-learning ecosystem. So, how do you see the role of artificial intelligence and machine learning evolving in creating personalized learning experience? Uh, if possible, like, can you share some of examples and like a successful implementation you might have come across within your experience?
Okay, thank you very much again. So, in fact, when we talk about the role of artificial intelligence and the machine learning, it actually evolves its personal learning paths. That's number one, because AI and ML can actually analyze a vast amount of data, and especially for student performance, learning styles, and even preferences. Second, this analysis would actually enable the creation of humanized or individualized learning paths that can cater to each student's strengths and weaknesses. Relatively, we also, the role is we will have the adaptive learning systems, which means the adaptive learning system platforms can use AI rather to continuously adjust the difficulty and the type of content based on a real-time student performance. And lastly, this is one of the most important thing is the real-time feedback and assessment. This is actually basically very important to our students because we have the AI powered tools that can provide immediate feedback on assignments, quizzes, or any other assessment, which it will help students learn from their mistakes in real time because we will be able to share easily or immediately the feedback coming from the assessment. Now, in the university in UST, we actually, as I mentioned a while ago, no, we have already existing AI. No, basically we have GradeScope. We even have our own Turnitin so that we will be able to check the research of our students. We also have SafeSign. It is also a tool for a plagiarism check. Also, we currently provided Grammarly for students and faculty to enhance their creation of sentences, paragraphs, so they will be able to improve their communication skills both in verbally or in writing. But the denominator of using this AI is, of course, we will have to make sure that these users or students or even teachers will be able to use this responsibly we all know for a fact that if you will be able abuse using these existing AI tools, it has an implications and impact to the integrity of the academic results of our students. So I think that's all for the in the meantime. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that insight again. Like, yeah, I think that is a very valuable point again, what you mentioned over there. Uh, which people mostly don't talk about, like, yeah, like to use it effectively, don't abuse the use of AI in education. So that is something which, like, as an educator or somebody who is uh, trying to build an education business or like a company
Yes.
should kind of keep in mind when they're trying to do that. Like, so the integrity is not kind of hampered. So again, thank you again for that very valuable insight. Just before I move to the next question, just to all the people who have joined in case if you have any questions, you can post it on the Q&A section, and we'll try to address it as and when we have time. Uh, Moving forward, of course, like to Mr. Samuel again. So, Mr. Samuel, as coming back to one of the topic which I wanted to ask was like, as online learning becomes more prevalent to everyone these days, right? Like, so how can educator ensure accessibility for all students, including those with like disabilities? So that's one of the key pointers which I actually wanted to address. So if you can share your insights on that.
Okay, thank you very much. I think with the prevalence of online learning, it is important that we consider how we can ensure accessibility for all students. It's very crucial. As when we look at the rate at which education is increasingly moving to digital platforms nowadays, it is a must for all educators to use a multifaceted approach, to guarantee that all students, including those with disabilities, have equal access to most of these educational opportunities. I've also highlighted some of the strategies that educators can use. One of it is implementation of what is called universal design of learning. Universal design of learning. This entails that we use what is called multiple means of representation. It is not enough for us to just use one format, but we can use several content in various formats. We can use text, we can use audio, we can use video, we can use interactive simulations, to cater for different learning preferences and needs. And we can as well use what is called multiple means of action and expression. This will offer students various ways to engage with materials and also demonstrate their knowledge, whether through written assignments, whether through video presentations or discussions. Like some of my students here in the United States, when I give them an assignment, I allow them, the freedom to use whatsoever means. If they like, they can use video, they can use, audio, they can use podcast. When they enjoy such flexibility, it makes learning more interesting to the student. Then multiple means of engagement. We can as well design activities that are engaging, like taking them to the field or utilizing what they like most, like sporting activities, like social media activities, that will make them and that will keep them engaged and also allow them to choose how they participate and interact with the content you have given them. So then another means through which we can use is what is called, we can ensure content accessibility. No matter how beautiful the content of our courses are, accessibility is what makes the student, to be engaged with such content. So what we can do is accessible course materials. We must use formats, accessible format for all course materials in such a way that, it will provide text alternatives for images, captions for video, For example, when I arrive in the United States, whenever Americans are talking, I will not hear what they're saying. So, but when they do a kind of a presentation that allows text alternatives, that gives a kind of meaning to what they are saying. So, and we can also provide assistive technologies like text to speech and speech to text tools. So, this will offer the tools that will convert written content to speech and vice versa. You agree with me that students nowadays, they prefer something visual. So if you are talking and they cannot see, they don't enjoy it. So we have to, key into what they like so that whatsoever we are teaching them will be meaningful. Then we can also use what is called screen readers. We can use the alternative input devices and all those stuff. What about the implication for the trainers, the training educators and staff? Professional development offer a kind of training for educators on how they can create and deliver accessible online content. Now, it means that it is not just about the students. The educators too, they need, to up their games in such a way that, they will be at par or even better than the student in terms of the digital output or tools that they are using. Then we can as well put into consideration awareness of disabilities. Teachers should be aware of the diverse needs of students with disabilities and also prepare to adapt their teaching strategies accordingly. Then we need to be more flexible with assessment methods. Unlike my generation, where if you don't submit your assignment, that is the end. No, it's no longer like that. So there should be alternative assessment that will ensure that we develop flexible assessment method that allows students to demonstrate their knowledge in various ways, accommodating those with disabilities that might even hinder their traditional test taking. Then we must also learn to be more friendly by extending time and support. How do we do that? We can provide accommodations such as extended time for exams or additional support during assessment for students with disabilities. Not just students with disabilities, we have to put the female students into consideration, especially when they are observing their menstrual cycle and they cannot really, participate in class activities. So we should not debar them. We can just be flexible about the submission and so on and so forth. Thank you very much.
Thank you again, Mr. Samuel. It's an area like, yeah, like mostly people don't talk about, again, like, yeah, because we would want to kind of build systems and build our education ecosystem around like people who have disabilities and who are like looking to learn, right? And uh, with your experience in that, like, yeah, the kind of expertise, what pointers, what you shared, I think it is something which most of the educators and like the e-learning companies are looking into certain extent to that. But there is a lot of work to be done there, which is what I feel coming from the industry. But then slowly we are improvising and like you were strategizing towards like, yeah, reaching that particular goal, like what you mentioned. Again, thank you for sharing that valuable insights, Mr. Samuel.
Yep.
Okay, now again, let's move forward with Mr. Edwin with our next question. Now, this is in terms of mobile learning, right? Like, so, like, let's say mobile learning has become extremely popular right now. And in your uh, in your views, right? Like, so what are the key factors to kind of consider when designing courses specifically for like mobile devices? Right, like, so that could be very valuable insights for a lot of people who are watching today.
Okay, thank you again. No, actually, when we talk about the mobile learning, mobile learning has actually become exponentially growing. So the question is, what are the key factors? So when we actually design courses specifically for mobile devices, it actually requires a very careful consideration for the key factors because nowadays, mobile devices or mobile gadgets, smartphones are very important tool for you to be able to access education, specifically the courses, assessments, etc. Now, one of the what are the most important aspect, no, when we consider applying the or engaging learning experience through our mobiles or mobile based learning. Number one is the content structure or the content layout. It has to be considered. It is because number one, with regards to the bite-sized content, mobile learning can actually focus on micro learning where content is actually being divided into small or manageable chunks. The one of the most important thing is it has to be responsive. The design should be responsive. We have to ensure that the layout can actually adjust automatically, that can fit the different sizes or screen sizes and the orientations, regardless if it's, for example, iPhone 15, 14, or tablets, iPads. It has to be responsive, wherein all text, images, and videos should be viewable without excessive zooming or scrolling. Second, to consider is the UX and the UI. Now, UI stands for the user interface and the user experience. Well, we have to have at least intuitive navigation. When we say intuitive navigation, the courses that has been integrated should have at least a simple navigation system, which is easy to use with touch inputs, no, or other input devices. You can also consider doing such a minimalist design. So when we say minimalist design, we can actually avoid such clutter by using a clean design that actually emphasizes the essential available elements. When we say minimalist, a minimalistic approach is can actually improve the focus and reduces cognitive excessive load. And this is lastly, no, which is one of the most important when we consider mobile-based learning, is the interactivity and engagement. We have to make sure that there would be
Mm.
elements, which by other panelists about gamification. A gamification is can incorporate gamified elements like badges, progress bars, and leaderboards so that they will be able to keep motivated, answering your assessments, answering your activities as well. You might also consider including multimedia integration. You might be using available elements like images, videos, audio strategically, no, to complement, no, the text-based content, text-based content, because it will ensure that the multimedia files are being optimized for what they call this by quick loading on your available mobile network. So those are the things that we have to consider now when we are trying to put all these things on our mobile-based learning. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think I can kind of relate to a lot of things what you said, because when we were working on our mobile version as well of the LMS, like yeah, there's a lot of things which came into like our discussion panel, and then we were discussing about like yeah, what would be the best bite-sized contents and like yeah, the gamified content. So these were of course like the main things which we discussed as well. So when we were kind of working on Android LMS and like yeah, creating a mobile version for that. Again, yeah, thank you for those valuable insights. Now, just quickly, I just want to address one more question to Mr. Samuel in terms of like so student retention in an online course, right? Like, so this is something, of course, like Mr. Edwin spoke when it came to the mobile learning, like, yeah, it has to be like gamified, it has to have some kind of uh, something which kind of attracts and like, yeah, keep bringing people back, the students kind of engage over there. So on that like note, like, so just continuing with the flow, like what strategies can be employed to enhance student interaction in an online course, especially in a highly competitive digital education market?
Yeah. Thank you very much. I think this question is very, very key, not just for the students, even for the institutions. Because when we talk about enhancing student retention in online courses, it is very, very crucial for the institutions operating in the highly competitive digital education market. Why? The reason is that retaining students not only boosts course completion rate, it will also strengthen, the reputation and financial sustainability of the educational providers. So I've highlighted some of my points, that we can use to improve student retention. The first one is that the course structure, the course, the course design must be engaging. The course design must be engaging. It has to be interactive. The content must be interactive. We must use modular structures. We can as well use multimedia resources such as video, podcasts, infographics, that will cater for different learning styles and keep the content of our courses engaging. Then number two is the personalized learning experiences. It is very important that we use what is called adaptive learning technologies, that we really, make the student, to be more engaged, and that we also increase their pace and level of understanding, that will also help them to stay on track. Then feedback is very important. Then another factor is that we have to put into consideration this strong student support system. We must have a dedicated academic advisors, that are ready to give a student, that are ready to mentor them, that are ready to help them, that are ready to offer academic and motivational support. Then our technical team must be operative 24/7. We must ensure that students have access to round-the-clock technical support to resolve, any issues that might hinder their learning experience. Then it is not bad if we also consider their mental health resources. Maybe because I'm a psychologist, we have to provide access to mental health resources and support. And when we do this, we're actually recognizing that online learners, they may face challenges such as isolation and work stress, because most of them, they are actually working and they are learning. So we have to put their mental health into consideration. Then another factor that we can use is we can build a learning community. When we build a learning community, we can have active discussion forums. We can also have a group project and peer collaborations. Despite the fact that the students are separated by geographical locations, notwithstanding, we can utilize the virtual platform, to give them a kind of a peer collaboration in such a way that, they will be able to bond, and that will really increase their retention. Then regular live session is very important. When, in Africa, we have a proverb that when you see the person that you are communicating to, you see that person face to face, it enhances learning. So there should be live regular sessions. Then I will also add flexible learning options. Just like I mentioned the other time, it helps retention a lot. When you allow students to learn at their own pace, self-paced learning, then make deadline flexible. Then mobile-friendly platform, utilize it. Utilize mobile, don't be too rigid about most of these platforms. Then there should be clear communications and expectations. From the beginning, let there be transparent course expectations. Clearly outline the objectives, the expectations, the deadlines from the outset. Then this will clearly reduce confusion and help students to stay on track. Then we should also consider regular check-ins. We need to implement regular check-ins through email, text, platform notifications to remind students of upcoming deadlines and, provide encouragement. Then the lecturers or the educators too, they must give prompt responses. This will ensure that, it will give a kind of feeling that the students are receiving support, social support. Then another thing is the motivational strategies that we can use. We can use a gamification, just like I mentioned the other time. We can celebrate milestones. We can acknowledge and celebrate student progress, through the course by recognizing milestones such as maybe they have completed a module, or maybe they achieve high grade, or they were able to score high on their assignment. We need to celebrate milestones. This will really motivate them. Beside this external motivation, we also need to give them what is called intrinsic motivation to connect, course content to real world applications in such a way that they will see what you are teaching them. Ensure that you go, above mere theoretical postulations, to practical realities of most of them, so that they can link what you are teaching them with the things around them. That will really help, and it will help them to retain the content of what you are teaching them. Then I will also need to add this quality content and instructor presence. The content should be checked, should be of high quality. So you need to invest in developing high quality, up-to-date content that is relevant, that is engaging, that align with the current industry standards. Then we need to involve active instructor presence. You see most of the lecturers, they can just record whatsoever they want to do, the educators, and send it. No, that should not be allowed. You understand? So that means that the institution too, they have their own role to play. Then the onboarding and orientation, there should be comprehensive onboarding. Offer a comprehensive onboarding process that will familiarize the student with the online learning platform. Let them know every detail about all the functions of each of the menu and the course structure. Let them understand it. Then let them know the available resources from the beginning. Then let there be a very comprehensive orientation program for the students. Conduct orientation program that will really help them, that will give them a kind of understanding of what to expect from the online learning. And it will also help them to manage their time effectively. So I will conclude by saying that I want to thank you for the opportunity given to me. And I believe that the audience too must have learned one or two things. Thank you very much. I appreciate. Do have a wonderful. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Samuel. I appreciate that. And again, very, very well thought out, explanation on the strategies, to kind of help students, or help come e-learners or educators to kind of enhance their kind of course material and to increase engagement. Of course, that's something which majorly people are challenging who are in the education industry. It's one of the one of the most common challenges, I would say. And then that is something which we would like to address, and the pointers what you mentioned definitely kind of shoots out right in the center, and says that okay, these are the things which has to be addressed initially, so that we can kind of create that engagement, or create that engagement within that student group. Thank you again, Samuel. Right before we go, I just want to address one more quick question to Mr. Edwin.
Okay.
So just wanted to understand on a different side of things, where we talk about a lot of virtual and augmented reality, and because you talked about gamification, right? So in context to that, virtual and augmented reality are gaining traction in education, and uh, how can these technology be effectively integrated into online learning to create an immersive experience for everyone?
Okay, thank you again. It's nice to see to hear answers from Sir Samuel earlier. A while ago, no, when we talk about the integration of VR, no, and AR, virtual reality and augmented reality, it's actually a good elements to be added for the existing creation of your learning engagement with your students. It because it has actually a great potentials for creating immersive and engaging online learning experience. So how do we be able to be effectively integrated this one into online learning? Number one, you have to make sure that you have a simulated environment or scenarios rather. So number one, experiential learning, because VR or virtual reality can actually transport students into lifelike simulations where they can practice skills or explore environment. It actually, this one has been so effective during the pandemic, where students are not allowed to go physically to their classrooms, to their schools. These simulations are actually very effective in marine transportations, in travel management, even in the medicine sectors, because it will also have a role-playing scenarios. VR can actually allow learners to assume roles in different various scenarios, just like what I mentioned, like such negotiating in a business meeting, managing a crisis, or even interacting with different historical figures. Second, this is actually existing. No, we will have to make sure that we have an interactive 3D models, no, for AR and VR. Why? Because it added for visualizing complex concepts. Wherein AR and VR can be presented complex in 3D, making them easier to understand. For instance, for example, in biology students, no, they can actually explore human body in 3D without having physical what they call this human or dead body, no, but using a human body in 3D, they can actually explore it. No, they can actually zoom in the organs or cells to see how they actually work or function. However, it is actually more efficient and more effective when, of course, the hands-on learning, because hands-on learning can actually more effective in such a way that you would basically understand how this really actually work correctly and properly. So I think that's how really AR/VR really works for applying it into learning based, no, and it will actually added humanizing, no, the learning or personalized learning pattern. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think very good example what you gave out there as well. Like let's say for like biology students, like yeah, they can actually
Yes.
kind of do a lot of practice and like kind of understand how the human anatomy looks and like works in a 3D model, like yeah, with the use of AI and like AR, VR technology and augmented reality. So thank you again, Mr. Edwin, for sharing that. It was like lovely having both you and Samuel like in the panel today, like yeah, sharing your insights and expertise on the and like giving your share of knowledge to the audience what joined in today and the audience who are watching it on live stream from different channels as well. Um, like quickly before I wrap again, I would just quickly want to thank our sponsors for the webinar today. Again, Exaltius. So once again, thanking our sponsors of the webinar. As a reminder, Exaltius is ready to partner with training companies to help them grow through our new initiative. Whether you're looking to increase your revenue, expand your course library, or streamline your training with our AI-powered LMS called as Adroid, Exaltius is here to support you and grow. You can visit our webinar website and like of course like take screenshot of like the QR code to kind of register your interest. Now, again, thank you everyone for joining in today. It was a very valuable, insightful session, I would say, talking about education and different avenues we kind of try to touch base with today so that like, yeah, we could cover the major challenges and like how we can empower, like how we can grow together as an company, as like an uh, or like an educator itself. So thank you again, Mr. Samuel, and thank you again, Mr. Edwin, to join in. And thank you for all the people who joined in today from all the part of the world or different part of the world. We would definitely meet again in some of the insightful sessions like this. Um, and we will definitely keep talking about like how we can empower education together. Uh, So again, like, yeah, thank you everyone, and I wish everyone rest of a good rest of the evening, or like, yeah, rest of the day from wherever part of the world you're joining in from. Thank you, bye.
Thank you very much again for this great opportunity. We'll look forward for more of this, so we will be able to share it
Definitely,
with everybody. Thank you very much, and have a great day, everybody.
you too. Thank you.